30 foot-pound. It ain't quick. It is? Oh, okay. There we go. My daddy would be so proud to see me do something like this. I was raised around rebuilding engines. My daddy did it. My oldest brother did it. My husband did it. He's doing it. Now I'm doing it. Okay. How about that?
That'll work.
Okay, that's a little bit got right there.
Okay.
Huh?
That's fine.
Oh, you want me to do that? Oops. You want me to do it?
That's fine right there.
Is that good? Good?
And we need to put it on the main caps too. Not the oil.
So which one is this? Well, that's number 4.
Let me put the Carolina. Let's put the drive shaft in.
Okay.
Just drop the drive shaft.
Okay. Drive shaft. Gonna drop it in. They clear. So 30 PSI.
Yeah, we're gonna start out.
I don't think this one's tight. Okay.
Go back to that one.
Okay. Let me do this one again. Okay.
Number 1, okay?
It is now.
Let's step it up to 60. We're gonna go in steps.
To 60.
60.
Hello, my Facebook friends. Tonight I'm going to be installing rings on the piston. So we have to make sure that they're lined correctly to prevent a blow-by. It's a little tedious to do. And there we have it. So I don't want to have an opening all on the same side. So I'm going to adjust that a little bit. Like so. That looks good. Now I'm going to install the second one. This one is my most challenging one. And I'm probably a little nervous too, because I know everybody's watching. Hello, today I'm installing the piston in the motor and also adding the bearings to the connector rod. Oh man, it's stuck. Oh, I thought it was. Okay. No staging here. Adding the bearings, or installing the bearings. And adding a little bit of lubricant. It's an oily job, but somebody's got to do it. Then I'm going to install, I'm going to put this in a vise. One thing I forgot, I need to dip it in oil. That's a very important process in order to keep the engine running smooth and not lose any compression. or torque needs to have oil. Okay. After installing 7 of the pistons, we were on piston number 8, we discovered that we had the wrong size connecting rods. The machine shop had indicated that we needed 10 bearings, 10 size bearings, and we actually need 20. So now it's really hard for the engine, for the engine to start. So we realized that it's really hard for it to turn, and so there must be a problem with the size bearings. So what does this mean? We're gonna have to remove all the pistons and replace the bearings with 20s. So we probably won't get the bearings until Wednesday. They're gonna have to be ordered, and then we'll do the same thing again. Stay tuned, it happens. I'm priming the oil pump. Whoops, there it goes. It's like a volcano. We good?
We good.
Wonderful. I'm installing the cam. All right. Gotta make sure that the hole is lined up. Okay, I think I can torque it now. So my first timing chain, and we set it, show this. So I had to line it up, this little dot to that dot to set the timing chain. And see how tight it is? Now I'm gonna torque it down. Okay.
And you have to put some top beers.
And then, yeah, then I had to make sure that the piston was top dead center, number 1 piston. So tonight we pumped the oil pump, we primed it rather, the oil pump, and then we installed the gaskets, lined those up, and now we're gonna put on the cover. Perfect. It's all lined up. Where are the bolts? Tonight I'm going to be installing the Harmonic dampener, and Daryl's a big fan of Power Force. He has this on his charger, so he's putting it on. He wants me to install the same brand name on my 63 Ford Fairlane. So right now I'm going to take this out of the box and put some grease on it. It's really heavy. I'll put a little bit on the inside. And then also on the outside. Okay. Now we're going to walk over and install it on the crankshaft. I have to make sure that it's lined up. There's a little cutout here. Okay, so I've installed the dampener on the crankshaft, and a lot of times people tend to want to try to hammer this in to make it flush with the crankshaft, but Daryl actually rented a tool. And this is the tool that we're going to be using, and this is where it came from. We've already took the liberty of putting it together. But this tool is we're going to use this to screw it in so that we can make this flush with the crankshaft. But a lot of people don't know that you actually rent this tool for $150, and then when you return it, you get $150 back. So essentially, it's free. The final step in securing this and making sure that this dampener is fully seated to the crankshaft is you only need two tools. One to hold the bolt in place. The other is to turn this. Yeah, I'm gonna do this first. Yeah. There we go. Okay, I'm going to secure this bolt. I'm going to go ahead and put this in to the dampener to secure the dampener down to the crankshaft. And I'm going to use this to finish it off. Okay. And torque it. Just installed the oil filter. So tomorrow we're gonna be installing the lifters. The heads. Right now I'm gonna put the lifters in oil to soak. So they're in my nice packaged cam box. These are lifters. We're gonna have them soak over here in oil. It's getting late. Sorry. And there you have it. Good night. So I'm installing the lifters on both sides. You just gotta let it do its thing, and it goes in very easily. Can't force it. It's a very snug fit. You wanna force it, but you can't. So there we go. Oh, that went all the way in. This has been soaking in oil for several days, the lifters. This is so much fun. This is better than playing in the mud when I was a kid. Again, when you try to force it, it doesn't want to go in. Just kind of let it glide in. This is the last one. Such a perfect fit. There we go. And there you have it. I've just completed putting in the cylinder head bolts and have tightened them down. And now I'm going to torque them to 70 foot-pounds. However, there is an art form to doing that. If you see here in this book, you have to torque 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, like so. So here I'm going to be doing that as illustrated in the book. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It wants to move. And the last bolt. There you have it. Next on the agenda is to install push rods. So I'm installing these 8 on this side. They've already been cleaned to ensure that oil can flow through this rod. So it has an end on, it has an opening on each end. So that's that side. Now I need to do the other side as well. You also have to check to make sure that there are no bends in the push rods. So they have to be clean and straight with no bends. There you have it. Installing push rods. Hello Facebook friends, I am finally back to complete or to continue with my 289 engine. Today I'm going to be installing intake gaskets, and I'm going to be providing some perma So I'm just going to be adding that to both sides of this gasket, to this one and then the other one. And then put this on like so. Just a thin amount will do. Okay. Just like playing with putty. There you have it. Part 1 of part 2. Then I'm going to take this and where it says head side up, I'm going to make sure that it's assembled like so. And likewise with the other side, head side, it says head side, and assemble this like that. Okay. Hi, I'm back. I've already installed the intake gaskets, and now I'm going to install the intake. Okay, just making sure that everything's lined up. Ooh, it's thundering. I don't want to be around all this steel, so what I'm gonna do now, I've already pre-assembled the bolts using the flat washer and the lock washer. And so I'm gonna just be installing those here, and then I'm gonna lock them down with the torque wrench, and we'll be done with the intake. Thank you. I'm back now. The storm has passed us by, so I'm gonna go ahead and complete the torquing of the bolts to the intake. And there's a little trick to this. You actually have to go in a certain order. This is bolt number 1, and I have to torque it at 25 foot-pounds. And that's the one. This is number 2. And this is number 3. And I'll have exactly 11 or 12 bolts that I'll have to torque at 25 foot-pounds. Hi, this is the final thing tonight. I've already installed the thermostat, and now I'm tightening it down. I remember as a child, my dad had to change my thermostat on my Maverick. Now I know what he had to go through in order to do it. And that's all. Thank you, Facebook friends. Hi, tonight I'm going to be installing the water pump to my 289 engine. Right now, I'm finishing up putting on some Permatex. Last time I didn't say the whole word, I said perm. Permatex. Oh, baby. So, and I'm going to install it to my water pump. I'm going to put some bolts in here just so I can kind of hold it into place. You know, use it as a little guide, if you will. And put this on like so. Okay, that's my red. Now I'm going to take it over and install it to the engine. I can't get it in the hole. Okay, it's going now. And this other one. Okay, and then I'll install all the other bolts and torque them down. So now I'm locking down the bolts to the water pump. Ooh. Is that okay? Oh, that scared me. Let's see. Okay, they're all secured. Well, that one can go a little bit more. Okay. Okay, now I need to torque it. Okay. Notice on the last video, hey Facebook friends, on the last video, that was when I was torquing, screwing down the bolts to the water pump, there was a pop. Well, that was because there wasn't enough thread on the bolt, so it kind of bottomed out. So now I'm going to put some additional threads on the bolt, on the screw, the other bolt, and to do that, I'm going to use this tool to add some more threads. So I'm going to tighten this down. And I actually noticed it, that there was a gap between the bolt and the washer. So So this should fix that. Okay. Now that I've completed tapping the screws, the threads, that is, I'm going to remove it and reinstall it to the water pump. Follow me. Okay. Okay. And see where before I noticed that it made that popping sound, and then there was a gap between the bolt head and the washer. It wasn't completely flush to the water pump. Notice it's not making that noise now, and it's pretty much where it needs to be. Now I'm going to torque it. At 12 foot-pounds. And there we go. We're all done. Install the water pump. Hi, I'm now going to be installing a fuel pump plate. Here, if you notice, there's a hole there for the manual fuel pump, but I've decided to go with an electric fuel pump, something that my dad used to always use, and I just basically want to utilize what I've learned from him. And also, using a electrical fuel pump gives you a little bit more power, is like fuel injection would do. So I'm gonna go over and get the plate. I've already put Permatex on it and have assembled it to the plate, like so. And now I'm going to install it. Oops. Notice how all of my parts are chrome. I like chrome. I want it to be all uniform. And I'm gonna torque it down, and that concludes installing the fuel pump plate. I am now about to install the carburetor 600. It is a manual carburetor, and it will go here. Right now I'm going to install the gasket. Harold prefers Holley carburetors, and opposed to a fuel injection system, we're going to be using this one. I remember my dad installing these when I was a little girl, and I remember these gaskets and all of that. So this brings back very fond memories. So there's the gasket. There is a right and wrong way of installing it, because it won't go this way. As you can see, you can only install it one way, or maybe two ways, opposite way. And then we're going to go ahead and get the carburetor out of the box. Installing this carburetor is like Every time I open up a box, it's like Christmas. It's a different Christmas present each time. So there's a gasket that also comes with the carburetor that goes here. And then I'm gonna take my 4 bolts. One of them is not the right color, but we're gonna fix that at a later date. And then we're gonna install it. Okay, so I'm going to place carburetor over the gasket, install the bolts. Making sure that the gaskets are in place. And they're slipping and sliding. And this basically concludes the installation of the carburetor. I'm just gonna tighten the bolts and torque them. Thank you. Hello, Facebook friends. I am now going to be installing my spark plugs in my 289 engine. I have 8 cylinders, so I'll be installing 8 spark plugs. Right now, what I'm going to be doing is setting them to 44. So in order to do that, I'm going to go ahead and pick these out of the box, and I'll go ahead and set them, and then I'm going to be installing them into the engine and show you how that's done. Here's my gauge for 44, so I'm going to put that here between the little spark plug and the clip. And that's 44. I do likewise for the other ones. And like so. Okay. Now I'm going to bring them over and install them into the engine block. Oops, that was the wrong way. Just testing you. Screw them in. And then once I have them in there hand tight, I'm gonna take my wrench and I'm gonna tighten them a little bit. So just like so. And I'll go ahead and do the others on this side as well as the other side. That concludes installing the spark plugs. Hello, Facebook friends. Today I'm going to be installing my spark plugs wires to the spark plug and the distributor cap. So, I have my handy dandy spark plugs here, and I also have my book that's going to tell me how to install the spark plugs. Don't look at my nails, they're awful. you know, anyway. So I'm gonna be looking for spark plug. The first one in the book is 1 and 5. So I'm gonna be looking at for number 1. Here's number 1. And for number 5, spark plug. Let's see, number 5. They're all nicely written on the spark plugs. That's 3, 2, 4, 2, 4. There's my 5. That's 6, 7. Okay, so we're gonna go over here. So my number 1 spark plug is right here. I marked this the last time when we put in the distributor cap. My number 1 distributor. So I'm gonna be connecting to the number 1 distributor. And then that's going to connect to the number 1 spark plug, which is here. And then the next one is the number 5 distributor. So I'm going to connect to the number 5 distributor. And then I'm going to put that to the number 5 spark plug, which is over here on this side. This is my number 5 right here. And I'm going to do that for the rest of them also, and then I'll be back to show you the finished product. Thank you. Hello Facebook family and friends. I'm going to be installing the alternator bracket. And I typically like to dip this in what we call anti-seize and lubricant. It's really good to do that when you have any kind of bolts that may be coming in contact with any kind of antifreeze or lubricant. So I'm going to put that in here. And I'm going to do likewise to this other bolt. Just dip it and twirl it. And then I'm going to go ahead and install it to my engine. And I'm going to just hand tighten it, because then the next thing I'm going to do is install the alternator. So stay tuned. Okay. Hello there. I have here in this box a double groove pulley. And we've chose a double groove pulley because on my 1963 Fairlane, I would like to have air conditioning. It's a must. So I'm going to install this pulley. Now this is going to be a little tedious, but I'm going to try to put the bolt here at the bottom and install my clutch pulley. And hopefully I can drop that down, and I'm going to put in the insert. And I'm going to try to put this on here like so. And there we have it. So there's the first bolt. So and I'm just tighten it down a little bit more. And now I'll be able to also hand tighten and torque the other 3. So that's the installation of the double groove pulley and my clutch fan. Thank you. So now I'm just tightening the bolts. Okay. And now I'm gonna put on the alternator belt. And like so. So that's on there good. Okay, and now I'm gonna tighten this last bolt here. And there you have it. We are done for tonight. More to come. Bye-bye.